got a weed dragon. It's a flame weeder. This is like the most fun and dangerous and awesome thing since they invented chainsaws. This is a very useful tool. I really needed it for my gardening. Super important for me to have one of these. I'll put a link in the description. It's an affiliate link. Actually, yeah, whatever. This thing is fun. That's why I got it. But I think I might be using it a lot for all kinds of things. But here we've got this area, right? This area has been cleared out for a food forest. And we have smilax coming up. Smilax, sometimes called briars or green briars. They're a pain in the neck. Now the way this works is you don't like deep fry these things. All you do is just the heat passes over them and it destroys the cell walls, whatever weed you're getting rid of. But it'll do all of your plants. You gotta be careful, like if you take this thing near your landscaping, you're gonna end up in trouble because you will find that you've burned all kinds of areas. So all you gotta do is just pass it and it heats up and basically steams the inside of those plants and they're done. They don't look like they're done. You don't have to roast them like you would roast a marshmallow to a crisp. All you gotta do is just kind of pass it over them and it's gone. It's gone. That's it. And now my son planted some watermelons out here. See them right here? And these smilax are coming up in there. I don't want to torch the watermelons, so I've got to very carefully, gently torch the smilaxes at the edge to free up my son's watermelons. Now I could continue going and just torch the living daylights out of it, but I don't have to. All I gotta do is that. I just gotta touch it. Those are done. So I may have to come back and retreat this again and again, but I can do this without spraying any poisons or anything. Make sure that this area is clear and just kind of walk around and torch them up. This works really well on small weeds that are just coming out of the ground. Like in between garden rows or gravel drives and fence lines. Those are ideal. I imported one of these down in the Caribbean because I was helping at a resort. And they wanted a non-chemical way to control the weeds that were coming through the gravel because they were spraying all this gravel area and they were thinking, you know, all that poison is going to wash down into the ocean and into the water that we've got here. They had a little pond. And I said, you got to get a flame weeder. Because obviously it's the very best way, and not just because it shoots fire out of it and it's fun. It's immensely practical. Come on, I don't want to roast. Take that, cabbage moth. I have this optional attachment that I took from my toddler for this video. See, it almost matches. It's really nice. Oh, I gotta light it again. Occasionally it goes out, but usually the pilot keeps going. It's fun. Now I gotta figure out how to do this without like torching my pumpkins and stuff. All I gotta do is touch them and they melt. So if I wanted to go down the garden rows, I could just go down the garden rows. Boom! Roast all this stuff. Thing is, I have a much better way to do this, and it's called a wheel hoe. So I'm not going to do it. But you know what would be fun? I have an area of kind of dry cover crop over there. Let's light it on fire. check that out. That's way better than tilling it under and utilizing the biomass. We could just burn it off the top. All right, no, I'll stop. I'll stop. I know. I need the carbon. You know, fire eats carbon. Wait a minute though. Wait a minute. There's a patch of Kogan grass. There we go. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to burn this Kogan grass, it was sprayed with Roundup. It's one of the worst invasive species, Amparata cylindrica, for you Latin speakers. One of the worst invasive species in the world, but there's still seed heads all over it, and I want those seed heads to burn up because they're just going to keep spreading seeds. Even if the Roundup didn't really kill the whole thing, those seed heads will spread. Fortunately, this is just one little circular patch, so when it burns to the edges, that's going to be gone. There's just a couple of spots. That is so satisfying. Now, if this was a full-on stand, we burned this a few months ago and it grew back, and then he sprayed it. If this was a full-on stand, it would be an inferno. Really, really thick, and it burns really, really hot. Shoots right up. This is not really that impressive compared to the firestorm tornado that could be. There you go, you're trying. Well, so far I have to say that I'm very satisfied with this product. I think we've used it reasonably so far, but I know what a lot of you are thinking, and that is, what would happen if we tried it on a jar of Miracle Whip? It smells so good. It's important to do this kind of thing, like we've seen, under real world conditions. Like, how are you going to actually use it? And I think that was a good test. But there's one more thing that I think that we definitely need to do, because it's definitely going to be one of those peripheral things you're going to be using it for when you're not weeding. There's not a lot of subtlety. Well, that was the first time I really gave this thing a run. One of my sons discovered it first before I got to use it. He knew everything about how to use it before I ever got a hold of it. So this is my first time trying it out, and I figured I'd just try it out on camera and kind of run it through its paces and do some reasonable weeding and things that you would normally do with a flame weeder. So it's a lot of fun. I think it's made in the US, Weed Dragon. It says made in the USA on this handle. So hopefully that doesn't mean like just the handle was made in the US. It seems nice and strong. It works pretty well. The pilot light goes out occasionally when you're using it, but not badly. I used a cheap one before and it didn't work very well. So far so good. It's certainly a lot of fun to use, and it wasn't super expensive. It just hooks up to a regular propane tank, and then you have to go find your own wagon to drag the propane tank around or haul it, or they make a version of it that has this scooter thing that goes behind you and holds a great big tank, which is cool, I guess, but I'm too cheap for that. Anyhow, yeah, I'll put a link in the description below. It's fun and very, very, very useful for all kinds of tasks around the home. I hope you enjoyed this thing as much as I did. This is not a product endorsement. This is definitely not a safety video. I just like the fire. So, yeah, cool. Anyhow, catch y'all next time. And until then, may your thumbs always be green.
I buried my rabbit beneath the cherry tree one fine afternoon. Someday I know that we'll meet again on a fruit salad spoon.
But I know what a lot of you are thinking, and that is, what would happen if we tried it on a jar of Miracle Whip? That's it. That's what you're wanting to know.